Welcome back, everyone. Dr. Scott Gerber back with us today, ONU law professor. We're talking a little bit about President Biden's mask mandate on public transportation and how that got knocked down. An injunction was issued by a district judge. And I read your op-ed and I was like, you know what? This is a fantastic point. This district judge basically issuing this injunction, but I think the biggest concern that you had and a lot of legal scholars had is how far-reaching it is and just the sole power that's been kind of inferred into this one judge, right?
Yeah, the problem with what she did is she's one district judge in one district in one state in the United States. And she has put a halt to federal policy everywhere in the nation. And it's called a nationwide injunction or a universal injunction. And technically, what she did was vacate a rule under the Administrative Procedure Act, but it has the same effect. And so the concern is that her decision binds non-parties to the case, which is inappropriate, and also that it binds other judges in the country, including judges above her head, like the Court of Appeals.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing, that judges that had higher power, their rulings would be basically moot. And the other thing you mentioned, that any rulings that had become before, dozens and dozens, related to this same issue, basically wiped out. And there were concerns as well about how compacted the appeals process gets now.
Correct. And as I said in the piece in the National Law Journal, the conservative legal movement opposes these so-called nationwide injunctions. Jeff Sessions, for example, when he was Attorney General, gave a famous speech opposing them, and he opposed them in particular for the reason that you said. He said in the speech that there are, say, 700 U.S. District Court judges in the country, and the U.S., in order to get its policy implemented, has to win every time someone files a case in one of these district courts. And the plaintiff opposing the policy only has to win once. And he said that's no way for the country to conduct its domestic policy.
You gave a great example, too. I think it went back to 2018 when President Trump was issuing a travel ban when COVID first began, and this notion of the flaws in a nationwide injunction kind of reared its ugly head back then, didn't it?
Right. In that case, there was one district judge, one U.S. district judge in Hawaii, enjoined President Trump's travel ban, and they did it. And the U.S. Supreme Court in Trump versus Hawaii overruled that decision, but they didn't comment on the nationwide injunction aspect to it. Justice Clarence Thomas, in his separate opinion, however, did comment on it and argued that nationwide injunctions are inappropriate for the reasons that we had already said. And ironically, Judge Mizell down in Florida clerked for Justice Thomas.
Yeah, that was ironic, that link there. And the other thing you had mentioned, too, and I looked up some other things talking about Judge Mizell, doesn't exactly have the highest ratings in the legal circles either, right?
Yeah, she was given a not qualified rating by the American Bar Association, but that was principally because she was very young. She was appointed at 33, and she didn't have much, if any, trial court experience. It's not that she isn't bright. She finished #1 in college and also #1 at the University of Florida Law School, which is a good law school. So she's bright, but because of her lack of trial court experience, they felt she wasn't qualified to be a trial court judge.
What do you think the answer is here then to kind of take that power away, which is a very encompassing power from a district judge as far as federal injunctions like that?
Well, as I say at the end of my piece, I think the U.S. Supreme Court has to take this case, and it's got to work through the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals first, and then the Supreme Court has to agree to take it, and say that these nationwide injunctions are unconstitutional for the reasons that we've mentioned. This is a good case to do that. They need to do it, and I hope they do it.
It's a good read, as always. Dr. Gerber, thank you. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Jeff. Thank you.
You bet. Nice chatting with you. We'll be back right after this.